Welcome back to this month's complete set presentation. This week we're going to be going back to 1978 to review the 1978 Topps Complete Set Baseball. I did a deep dive on this video on a live stream a year ago, so I will add the link to that as well. We did that with John Wade Bog fans, as well as obviously Jake and RJ, so feel free to check that out in addition to the set itself. I'm going to go through the set pretty quickly here. I got some notes about the set itself, some stuff about the 78 season, as always. I'll point out a lot of the star players, the Hall of Famers, and some of the interesting cards that you might see throughout the set as we go through it. So let's jump into it, the 1978 Topps set, which is a 726 card set released all in one series, as they started to do starting with 1974. As with many sets, they start with the record breakers. So let's see what we got here. There's a lot of big names in here. We have Willie McCovey up here in the corner, as well as Lou Brock, who reached the stolen base record lifetime. William McCovey, as it says, had most two home run innings lifetime at that point. Most consecutive seasons with one club was the Brooks Robinson. Most hit switch hitter lifetime was Pete Rose. Most games, 10 or more strikeouts lifetime was Nolan Ryan. And most homers in a World Series was Reggie Jackson down here in the corner. You can see it's just loaded with players that are Hall of Famers in this little first section here, or could be in the Hall of Fame if he was eligible. And Sparky Lyle, who was a very good reliever during his time as well. Down in the corner here, you can see the basic card design. It has borders with either a portrait or an action shot. The borders are different colors. The cursive script of the team name is also going to be based on different colors. Then we have the position abbreviated up here in the corner, which is going to be encased by a baseball, similar to the 1964 Topps Giants design, but obviously a much smaller baseball up in the corner as opposed to the lower corner. By 78, everybody has like these big softball style uniforms for the most part, except for ones that stayed very traditional, like the Yankees up here in the top in the corner. Let's kind of jump into it. These are the uniforms I remember from my childhood. I was born a year earlier than this, but I saw them obviously throughout the 80s. We've got Phil Niekro up in the corner. Tony Perez as an Expo, which is always a good answer I find for somebody who played for the Reds or the Red Sox, and the Expos as well when I'm trying to fill out the daily quiz I get on, what's it called? I forgot, but it's from the baseball reference quiz that they do where they have a lot of players that you're trying to find answers for. Blanking out at the moment because I'm actually really tired at the moment, but we got Bob Grich, who's on my list as somebody that should get in the Hall of Fame, because if you look at his WAR, it's very worthy of consideration. Longtime Yankee Roy White down here in the corner. Baseball player and manager Art Howe. Beautiful Pete Rose card here at the top. These did have the Gold Cup cards down here for the star rookies, so we got Bump Willis down there. Charlie Huff was a good player, a good pitcher in his time, throwing that knuckleball. And Yad, who passed away, I believe, last season, if not mistaken. There's a few big rookies in the set. I'll show William McCovey first before I get on here, but here's the biggest. And it happens early on in the set. It's the Eddie Murray card. It's difficult to find it in really good condition and perfectly centered, so copies that are like PSA 9s and 10s go for a lot in this set. But you can still find a really good copy of the card and not pay an arm and a leg for it, and then later get it graded if you choose to. He's one of several rookies that are in this set. You have Eddie Murray, Lou Whitaker, who's not in the Hall of Fame, but I think should be. We'll get to the rookie cards, where they have multiple players on one card itself, which features like Alan Trammell and Paul Molitor in there on one card, as well as Jack Morris. Having a rookie card is two. And Gary Templeton was traded for Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith obviously not in this set, he's in the next year's set. Carly Yastrzemski. So they don't have separate All-Star cards in the set. They have this little All-Star emblem, which I thought were really cool at the time, where you could have like a base card that's also their All-Star card. I thought it was pretty neat. One of the better features of the set, in my opinion. This set itself, here's Mark the Bird Fidrich. Was released in wax pack form. You could also get complete sets too. I think they're like hobby shops, cello packs, and also rack packs. I believe it was also vending was a possibility during this time as well. And again, all the players were featured in one series. So if you got a wax box, you could get some of the big cards across the entirety of the set. Thurman Munson, his second to last player card. And your manager cards are going to feature them as a current manager and also as them as a youngster, either in the major or the minor leagues or as a major league player. Here's Don Zimmer. This one, I think, is from the Brooklyn Dodgers, but it's kind of hard to read it right there. When he actually played for the Dodgers back in the day. And you have a basic team card that has the team photograph. Here's the White Sox up here in the corner. So the White Sox actually started with Bob Lemon as their manager at the beginning of the year, Hall of Fame pitcher from the Cleveland Indians. But he was let go, I think, after about 2 weeks of the season because they were off to a bad start. Whereas Lemon then was later picked up by the Yankees when they fired their manager, Billy Martin. And he went on to win the World Series that year with the Yankees, which was their second one in a row, which they beat the Dodgers that year 4-2. We got Goose Gossage, Andre Dawson. My favorite Dawson card is this one, actually. Ken Griffey Sr. Go Larry Boa down here in the corner. Hall of Fame manager Bobby Cox. His first stint with the Braves. George Brett. One of the bigger cards in this set for non-rookie cards. Joe Torre, Hall of Fame manager, pictured here with the Milwaukee Braves. Gary Carter. Also one of my favorite Gary Carter cards. Dennis Eckersley, almost missed him. Good old Bill Russell. Great player in his time. Burt Bryleven with Texas. Pitched everywhere in his career. Here we got Ron Guidry. So Guidry is actually your American League Cy Young Award winner. The National League winner was Gaylord Perry. We'll get to him in a minute. Guidry had a really big season. He actually did a couple different things that were of note. He actually tied the record for most strikeouts in a game at 18 during this season. And also, he tied Babe Ruth for the most shutouts in a season by a left-handed starter at 9, which I thought was pretty interesting. Obviously, Ruth was with the Red Sox at the time he did it. Some other milestones of note is Pete Rose got to 3,000 career hits. William McCovey reached his 500th career home run. And Gaylord Perry was able to reach 3,000 strikeouts for his career. Raleigh Fingers. I put this set together probably, more than 20 years ago now, and I didn't have a huge budget at the time. So I just kind of settled for cards that didn't look so good at times. So Raleigh Fingers, if you want to upgrade, it probably only cost me a few bucks to do so. Yeah, Keith Hernandez. Bobby Bonds. Good old Steve Stone. Just heard some to him on the broadcast today where the White Sox lost again to the Padres. Lost 3 straight to the Padres and actually are tied for the most losses in a season now at 120. And there's still 6 games to go, so it could get a whole lot worse. Lou Piniella. Jim Palmer. Cecil Cooper was a pretty good player in his time, too. Good old Reggie Smith. Lou Brock's on the list to replace, too, because it was miscut. It's oversized. Robin Yount, no mustache yet. Dave Concepcion, pretty good player in his time. Got Tommy Lasorda, pictured with the Brooklyn Dodgers when he was a player there. Good old Larry Durker. Later well-known pitching coach. Here's one of the more famous cards from this set is this Reggie Jackson card. I love this picture of him completing his swing, and you see his knee is almost on the ground here, as you can see pictured there. You just kind of see like the power of his swing where he's able to kind of go all the way down to his knees at that point. Obviously, Reggie had a really big season the year before, went on to win the World Series again with the Yankees that season. But he was not your MVP that year. Your MVPs were Jim Rice that year and also Dave Parker for the Pirates. There we go. Here's our league leaders. Speaking of Dave Parker. Batting leaders. Home run leaders. Home run leaders. Here we go. Try to say some of the names. Generation Hall of Famers. We got, and here we got Steve Carlton, Jim Palmer, victory leaders. Phil Necro, Nolan Ryan. Raleigh Fingers. Good old Doc Ellis and Jose Cardinal. Earl Weaver. Pictured here in the minor leagues with the Baltimore Orioles. Darrell Evans down here. Pretty good power in his time. It's a pretty cool set when you look at it all together. Tim Carver at the end of his career here with the Phillies, of all teams. Frank White, really good player in his time. Craig Nettles. Good old Jerry Royce, pitched for the White Sox briefly towards the end of his career. Bert Campaneris, pretty good player. Carlton Fisk down here in the corner. Good old Buddy Bell up there. Willie Horton, strangely with the Rangers at this point, no longer with the Tigers. Joe Morgan with the Reds. Whitey Herzog. Here he's pictured with the Kansas City Athletics. Joe Necro down here in the corner. Don Sutton. So as I mentioned, the two teams that were in the World Series were the Dodgers and the Yankees, but actually this was a repeat from the previous years of like what teams made the playoffs. You had the Dodgers and Phillies also, or the Phillies and also the Royals making the playoffs that year too. So it's just kind of interesting that these teams, then the following year, none of them made the playoffs. Fred Lynn, good Jim Fregosi, Bruce Sutter. This is a second-year card. Good old Bucky Dent. Louis Tiant. Jeff Torborg getting a chance to manage at this point as the White Sox manager in '93. Steve Garvey. Mike Schmidt, full mustache by this point. Go Rusty Staub, really good player in his time. Tommy John, very good player. Ted Simmons, Hall of Fame catcher. Jack Clark, who had very good seasons throughout the 70s and 80s. Ken Holtzman, who died not too long ago. Sparky Anderson, picture here with the Philadelphia Phillies when he was a player. Your postseason cards are very small, so you're just looking at three. You got the AL Championship, the NL Championship, and then you got the World Series. You got the Dodgers overpowered the Phillies to face the Yankees in the World Series, who overpowered the Royals. And then the World Series went to the Yankees. That's it. Unlike a lot of previous sets throughout the late 60s into the early 70s, where they had sometimes cards for every World Series game and sometimes the previous rounds as well. Other things to note, your batting champs for this season, I think I mentioned them already. We also had some no-hitters too. We had Bob Forsch from the Cardinals, pitched a no-hitter on April 16th. And then Tom Seaver pitched a no-hitter when he was with the Reds on the 16th of June. And your rookies of the year were Lou Whitaker and Bob Horner. We'll get to some of those in a minute too. Al Oliver, Very good hitter in his time. Tug McGraw. Tom Seaver. Jim Catfish Hunter. Good old Al Dark. Pictured there, I think, with the Cubs. Garrett Richard, dominant pitcher in his time before he had a stroke. Bill Buckner with the Cubs at this point. Chuck Tanner, also pictured here, I think, with the Cubs. It's really cool looking cards. Definitely takes me back down memory lane. George Foster. Willie Stargell. Dick Williams. He's pictured here, I think, with Kansas City as well. Kansas City A's at that time. Dave Winfield. Steve Carlton. Here's Dave Parker, our MVP. Got his autograph recently back in March on his rookie card. Oh, Jerry Kuzman down here. Dave Kingman, heck of a power hitter. Bob Lemon, as I mentioned earlier. Actually, who took over for Bob Lemon after he was released from the White Sox as manager and went on to the Yankees? It's actually Larry Doby, which we don't have a card of him as a manager for the White Sox, but he was just the second African-American manager to manage in the American League following Frank Robinson, who was a few years earlier. Rod Carew. Oh, Bobby Mercer, but with the Cubs. I think that always looked funny to me. I always think of him as a Yankee. Willie Randolph, really good player in his time. Ron Say, also a very good player in his time. Just really cool looking at these cards. Getting near the end here. Good old Manny Sanguian. Jim Rice, your MVP. Looks very happy in that card. Here's Dusty Baker. Vida Blue. Gaylord Perry, your Cy Young Award winner. Dwight Evans. Johnny Bench. And here's your rookie cards. You see there was 4 players featured on the same card. So some of these are, you have some people that have decent careers, and others are going to be ones that are like most of the players really didn't amount to much of anything. But there are some ones of note in this set in particular. Let me point them out. Here's Jack Morris's rookie card. Got Lou Luediker in here. The Paul Molitor Alan Trammell card. Mine's got a lot of ink that somehow rolled off on the card, which left some marking when it was printed. Got Dale Murphy, not his rookie card, his second time appearing on one of these cards. He was in the 77 set. Fergie Jenkins down here, Jim Cott. Billy Martin up here, obviously pictured here with the Yankees. And my guy Wilbur Wood down here. I feel like I might have missed Nolan Ryan as we went through here. Like I said, I've been a little tired, but that is it with the 1978 set. And here's like a copy of the wax pack you could have gotten at that time. When I bought this lot back in the day, I got some of the wax packs themselves included with some of the lots I bought. I think I have the same for 76 and also 74. So it's just kind of interesting seeing it now, you know, many years later, knowing that some of these are often pretty coveted. It's kind of nice to have it with the set all together. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. That's it for the 70s, actually. So I have a lot of stuff left from the 80s to go through, which we'll get to, and also some football sets I'd like to get to as well. I think at some point, maybe in a year from now, I might be getting near the end of having complete sets to share with you, unless there's a set that I complete along the way. So have a good week, rest of your week, everybody. I'll be back soon.